Well, let's just start talking about sales. Everybody wants to. Not everybody. Let me rephrase. A lot of times, I see people that they don't want to sell. They want their websites to do the selling. They want their equipment. They want their experience. All of that is supposed to sell for them, and then they don't have to. For example, somebody goes to a bridal show and they work all day and all night on their booth so they can just stand there, and then the booth will sell them without having to interact. And unfortunately, the Hustler's Code states that those who go out and sell are the ones who are going to find more success at the end of the day.
The Hustler Code, though, that just sounds so weird.
Yeah, it's it's nothing Vegas or anything like that. But it's just the guys, the people who go out and hustle, the ones who work, the ones who just keep that drum beating, the ones who keep their foot on the gas are the ones that are going to do it. So sales is an inevitability if you want to be well. Good sales is the way to be a success. So one of the things I'd like to talk about tonight is how to be a good salesman in this day and age with millennials.
Oh boy, that's a hot topic, boy. That's something we definitely need to dig into. Definitely.
Well, let's dig.
Let's get into that. I'm gonna watch the chats, and I'm gonna ask questions as you confuse me, and we'll go and have some fun.
All right. Well, and let me just give you the best approach nowadays. Is best my friend Dave Lewis from Hawaii. He is just such an honorable, honest guy. And to watch him sell is to see the best template for selling, because that is how you do it nowadays. You cannot, there's too much information out there. There's too much room for people to find out that what you're selling is not accurate. And too many times we start getting ourselves backed up, John, about how we sell, as far as we're worried about our own pricing. We're worried, deep down in our subconscious, in the back of our mind, we're worried that our pricing is too high and we're not really worth it, and somebody's going to find us out, and et cetera, et cetera. Right. So let me give you an example with Dave. Dave told me a story about how he was selling DJ trivia, and he went to somebody to talk to them, who was somebody that he knew, was an acquaintance, and he says, I think that this is going to be good for your business. The guy says, well, I don't want to spend a lot of money on just bringing in another act, Dave. And Dave looked at him and says, I'm not here to take your money, I'm here to make you money. And if that's what we're interested in, and that's what we need to talk about. But if you think it's just going to cost you money, then we might not have a match, because I have no interest in just costing you money. And Dave was absolutely 100% genuine with that approach. And that's how Dave works.
He does.
If he can't sell it, you can't go with it.
I could just see him doing that too, because of his demeanor and his confidence. There's an inner confidence with Dave, because he's just really that calm, confident, and he's going to come in there, and I could just see him. By the time he's done, he probably could have doubled his rate, and the guy would have bought.
Right. Well, and you bring up a good point, John, that sales confidence is something that I talk about. If I can get inside of your head for a minute and just have you close your eyes and think about what the sale means and what the purpose is behind the sale, and what happens if you don't get the sale, meaning if your competition who's no good gets the sale and they ruin the event because you weren't there. If I can get in your head for just 5 minutes before you go knock on that door, you got a much better chance of succeeding, because it's that sales confidence that you mentioned that really, really will tear up the streets with your stuff.
Yeah, for sure. The second point that you mentioned when you're referring to how Dave presented that, he came in and he was offering not a problem, but a solution. And that solution of making more money. He wasn't stating it from the problem of, it's going to cost me money. No, I'm here to make you money. Which is right. A fabulous angle.
And the brilliance of Dave is simply this. And anybody who knows Dave, I want you to text him, to email him, and to Facebook message him. Let him know that we're talking all about him right now. But the brilliance of Dave is this, is that he's user solution ready, to where he's going in and he's talking to them about what matters to them. If he starts talking to them about what matters to him, you can sense that. I mean, when you're being sold something, John, when you as a consumer sense that it's in their best interest that you buy it, you're going to shut down and you're not going to buy it, even if it is a good match for you, and even if you do want it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to sell an event, the key to it is find out what your client is looking for and help them to get it.
For sure. You gave us gold there, Rick, with the phrase user solution ready. That Dave goes in there with that user solution ready, so he can present it from that's gold. For those of you watching, write that on your foreheads. Okay.
Write it on your hand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe on the hand, but.
Well, and again, I mean, not just user solution ready, but again, why are they really buying a DJ, John?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not buying a DJ. What's that?
In the case of the venue, to make money. They want to make money.
Right. And if you're talking to a bride or a bar mitzvah or a birthday or a corporate function, they're not buying it for the music. Yep. They're not buying it because you got the great lighting. They're not buying it because of the fact that you've got the best Denon system that was ever created. They're buying it because they want an end result. So what's the end result that they're buying it for? I mean, let me ask you this question, John. If you went out into your garage and you had a shovel hanging there, and it was the best shovel in the history of shovels, would you have bought that shovel because it's the best shovel in the history of shovels, or are you buying it for the hole that it's going to dig?
For the holes that hopefully it'll dig more than one. But yes, it's basically for the hole.
That's it. So as a DJ, my suggestion is find out what's your hole. What is she really looking for when she's booking you for a wedding? What is your corporate client hiring you for? If they're having an event and they're hiring you as a professional, find out. Ask the questions.
So
what are they trying?
Let's take a bride. What would be some of the possibilities of why they would be hiring? I mean, they want music for their wedding day, but there's more than that. And there can be many.
And there's typically four things that she's hiring you for. Number one is she wants to hire you to impress. Now, who does she want to impress? Everybody that's coming there. I mean, she might have, again, there's a lot of psychology in buying weddings because of the fact that they don't need it, but they're not going forward without it.
Yeah. So
she wants to impress everybody that's going to be there. Number two, she wants to enjoy it. She wants to have fun. She wants to party. She wants to everybody there to have a good time, and they want to tell the stories about it afterwards. And then number three, she wants to win that silent competition that's out there. That she wants to be better than the neighbor's wedding or better than her cousin's wedding. Or sometimes her mom wants her daughter's wedding to be better than her wedding was.
I've seen that one.
And then here's the big one. And this is the one that I push the button on all the time because this one matters the most. And this is why I think it's so necessary that we have to really work hard to get out there, because the fourth thing that they're looking for is that Cinderella button. Some of these girls want to be the belle of the ball. They only are going to have that one chance to be the star of their own show. And so that is very important in the sense that if we don't get out there and we don't do it, then that show could be ruined by somebody who does.
Yeah, for sure. No, those are some great points. And if we can hone in on one of those four, it's going to make our job as helping them much, much easier. But now we've had this conversation before. Is one of the first things when we're at that bridal show or wherever we're getting contact from, that bride's asking, well, how much? How do we go from that how much to the point where we can find out what she's really looking for and to start working towards helping her to find a solution for her, those things she really wants?
Right. And John, something that's important to know is that when she asks how much, I don't want you to cringe. I don't want you to get upset, because two good things that are coming out of that how much. Number one, your marketing worked. In other words, she found you. And number two is that she not only found you, but she's somewhat interested in you enough to ask you how much. It's kind of like a good-looking girl coming up to you when you were single, John, and saying, so you're single, tell me about your job. Mm-hmm. She's looking a little bit further down the road. So getting her past the how much could be as simple as, well, we have a variety of packages, and what the best thing to do is to meet with us so we can find out what your needs are. Because I want to make sure, number one, that I can provide what you're looking for, and number two, if I can't, I want to point you in the right direction. Sure. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I think that's
by the way, I say Does that make sense, or does that sound fair? I say that a lot. That's in my vernacular for a reason.
Go ahead.
Because you want to get them thinking and kind of sidled up beside you to where you're coming together to focus on that user solution.
That's what I was just going to say. That sounds fair. That is part of that talking. You're not talking to us. You're talking to the bride and basically getting her on your side.
That's it, right there beside you, to where you guys can work on this together. You're going to team up on this. We're going to find the solution for this. Now, it might not be me. I might not be, for example, in my world, which is not unlike your world, I might not be the best business coach for you. But if I'm not, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. Does that sound fair? See how that works?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, sure, great. So I need this, and I'm this, and next thing you know, they're telling you their life story.
Hopefully. And now most brides, they haven't done this before. Statistics tell us, John, that 85% of brides haven't done this before. And that's why corporate's a lot easier. And it's no secret that we want to go after more corporate business that's going to be residual, and they're just going to hand us the reins again for next year at the end of this event. In other words, we get done today and they're going to say, well, book us for next year. That's fun business. And I get that. But the bride doesn't know what she's looking for. So she doesn't know how to ask the quality question. She doesn't know how to ask the experience question. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. So you need to help her understand that. Good point. She doesn't know how to ask these questions. How do you go? I mean, and we've seen these DJs making that list of 10 questions to ask a DJ. That doesn't work. How do we go in that conversation to make these important things that she needs to be looking at? How do we bring those up subtly without offending? Oh, very simple, John. I mean, let me ask you this: have you ever been asked in a meeting with a bride, do you carry insurance, John? Mm-hmm. Have you ever had that question?
Oh, yes, I have had that. Yep.
Where did she get that information? Where the hell did she get that? Ask that question.
She came off a list of 25 things to ask a DJ, and that's it. I've had them with that piece of paper, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's see." And now, what color socks do you wear with your tuxedo?
Right. I actually had a bride who would ask me, true story. Well, it wasn't a bride; it was an event coordinator that asked me. She said, "You're not going to wear a chicken outfit tonight, are you?" I said, no, I left at home. No, I don't wear a chicken outfit. What are you talking about? Apparently, the week before, a guy very dapper in a very nice tuxedo comes out there, elegant affair. Then he goes back in the kitchen, changes into a full out chicken outfit, comes out to do the chicken dance. One song, brought his chicken out. So anyhow, to go back to your question, how do we go about asking them about what what they're looking for in the right way? One question: have you been to any weddings where you saw something that you really, really liked that the DJ was doing? Right. If you ask them that question, that will get them started. Let's pretend that they say no. Have you been to a wedding where you saw some things that you didn't like? Find out what she doesn't want. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we're really good at what we don't want, but we're lousy at what we do want. And if that doesn't work, ask her, say, you're hiring a DJ for a reason. Probably a big party. Describe the party, the ideal party that you're looking for, that DJ is going to provide for you.
Oh, good tip there.
And then let her start painting the picture. And then as she starts painting the picture, here's another little fun thing. Paint yourself into it. Simply by nudging her along by saying, okay, so what I'm understanding from you is that you're looking for a couple of line dances, but you just want me to get everybody involved. So when I'm out there and I see some of the fun people that you'll tell me about, then I want to go grab them by the hand and pull them out to the dance floor and have some fun with them and really have the party going. Does that sound about right? And then all of a sudden she's picturing you DJing her wedding.
Helping that to come true and to become a reality.
Right. And it's building trust, and it's subtle trust, and it's what the mind can create or achieve, believe, then it will conceive, all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So.
Do you think with the millennial, now if we were talking to a 20-year-old bride as compared to a, let's say, 35-year-old bride, maybe the second marriage, is there a difference? We mentioned the whole, kind of that partnership that would work with a millennial. Are we going to have that same type of a situation, do you think, with an older couple?
Not necessarily. I mean, the older couple who has done it before recognizes what they're looking for. They recognize more of the personality that's involved because they've done it before. than they do. They just want to meet the personality. That's what I found. Now, going sales wise, you've got to sell them differently, and a lot of that has to be with you ask them the same questions, but they're going to give you different responses. And so imagine what the millennial bride is looking for in the final result. She might want to have an open kegger with lots of beer and wine there that's just going to get everybody rip, snort, tootin'. And everybody's a great dancer after 3 drinks, John, even you. So based on based on that, you want to find out what they're looking for. The older bride might say, well, I just want to have a lot of memories with my guests. I don't, we're not so into the drink. You don't know.
Yeah.
So you just got to get good at asking the right questions and getting to know them and what they want.
Now, once you find out what they want, now let's say they're wanting something here, but we, from our experience, know that something over here is really what's going to be probably something that they need or they should have, or that would be something that would, I want to create memories and I want to create memories, and they're looking at this little component, and that's not a big thing, and yet what they're wanting to do is really would be better here. How do you try to move the conversation or adjust their thinking or expose them to some other ideas? How do you handle that in a tactful way?
Right. So what I'm understanding, John, is they're asking for this, but you think that they need this.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe their idea is that they want to have a nice thing, and they want to have some interaction. They want you they want to do the birdie dance is it, and we have a fun crowd and we want to do interaction. We want to just do this. Well, that if it's a fun crowd and interaction, we can do this and this and this and this and this. When does a person try to move that conversation in? And I can envision in my head this being overwhelming for some brides.
Well, and I think you're right, John, that it is very overwhelming for the brides. And I always try to take an empathetic approach to that, because it's not easy being a bride nowadays. They're getting more information tossed at them than you can imagine. They're spending more money on one day than they've ever spent before in their life. And it's just a little bit stressful. So if she's saying, I really want this, and you start to talk and get to know her, perhaps you suggest to her like this, and pretend that you're the groom, John. John, what I'm hearing is that you're looking for this type of a party. And I've had a lot of my wedding couples come to me suggesting that they wanted this type of party, but when in reality, it ended up being this type of party. Can I ask you a hard question, John? Would you trust me with your event enough to read the crowd and to communicate with you throughout the night to make sure that you got absolutely the result that you wanted, using my experience as the template to help out with that? Mm-hmm. Can you do that?
Yeah, that would be a nice way to present that idea.
Right, because of the fact if she's going to be very rigid about performing like this, and you're not comfortable performing like this because of the fact that that it's going to fall, it's going to be a dud, it's going to be something that's going to make you look bad, perhaps to the venue or perhaps to guests there or both, then that might be a way to gently back out and just say, gosh, I really have a hard time doing that, and I don't think I'm the best person that can do that. Let's see if we can help you find somebody who is. And now,
go ahead, finish up that.
Because I don't want your wedding to be ruined. I want you to get exactly what you want.
And as you just described that situation, and now that flashed back to a time when that exact thing happened, when the groom wanted to make a playlist, and we've all had this, where they want to make a playlist of all the songs to be played for the night. And that whole statement of, you trust me to use my experience, and I know how I've had those parties, and this is what happens if... I think that there's an exact fit. So for those of you who just listen to this, rewind the last 5 minutes. In your head, visualize the time someone says, I'm going to give you a playlist of all the songs to play, and then run Rick's script through your head and see how much sense that little statement just made. It really, really fits in wonderfully for that, Rick. That was really good.
Thank you. Well, and the key to it is, John, is that this typically happens face-to-face. It's hard to happen over the phone. And sometimes that's where trust is built. She's not going to trust you as much on the phone. And if she's asking, can you do this, and this, right at the get-go, my typical response would be, I'm not sure. Can we meet? We can talk a little bit further about it, because I want her to meet me. I want her to get to know me.
Yeah, for sure. That's a huge, huge part, especially for those of us who are the booking agent and the talent and the everything. I need to meet with them so I know who I'm working with, they knew who they're working with, and if we jive, I think really is the best way to describe it.
Right, fair enough.
Because the times where you mentioned, of course, finding someone else for them or referring someone else or sending them along, what have you, I think that's something that DJs probably don't do enough of, and they get themselves into trouble, and I'm sure you've heard horror stories.
Well, I have, and the key to it is again, we're looking for the immediate payoff, and I get that. I get that we've got to pay our power bills this week, not 6 months down the road. So, but the key to it is helping them to get what they want will always get you what you want, and I truly believe in that principle. It's a Zig Ziglar principle that's been around for decades, that when you help somebody achieve what they want, you will always get what you want. And based on that, I'd also like to tell you that handing off a referral to somebody needs to be done in a better way as well. Most times when we get a bride that is not a match, or let's take, for example, the case that June 12th, we're already booked. And it seems to be like 5 weddings for that day, but we can't handle it. Say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm already booked. How much better off would you be in the community of your fellow DJs by handing her off to somebody who you know, trust, and like will do a good job for you? So, for example, up there, John, I can think of about 10 different DJs that would do a great job in your stead if you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And if you were to say, you know what, my date is booked, but I've got somebody I trust a lot in the business. I've been in this business for a while. Would you mind if I called and checked his schedule and call you right back? What do you think she's going to think about you? She's going to think that you're like, wow, that's pretty nice. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, call him up. And now, what do you think that the other guy's going to think about you, John, when you do that?
Oh, for sure. That you're building that connection and that trust factor and such with your competition in the area.
Right, and there's more than enough weddings to go around for the good guys. The problem is that the good guys don't get known enough to where they can be considered an option. And if all of the good guys banded together and they did the same technique, trust me when I say it would rise the tide and lift all of your ships.
For sure. Now let's bounce back. Now the methodology that you just recommended. Now, okay, so I took the call. I'm booked for that day, and walk us through that process one more time for those who are interested in making referrals and doing it the right way. Sure.
Gosh, Sean, it looks like I'm booked on June 12th, but I know somebody who can do a good job for you. That's a similar market of what I do, and I've known him for quite a while. Would you mind if I called him up to check his schedule for you and see if he's booked, and then I can put you two in touch? Would that be okay?
Sure.
And then what you do? Okay, great. Give me your phone number. I'll call you right back. It'll probably take me 5 minutes. If I get voicemail, I'll leave him a voicemail, but I'll call you back either way.
Sure.
Then you gotta follow through. Don't leave the poor girl hanging.
I like that you give a specific time. I'll call you back in 5 minutes, and the voicemail thing, so that they know that there might be well, I don't have any information for you, but I'm calling back. But you're giving that specific time. That is really critical because they don't want to wait 15 minutes for your call or a day.
Right. And listen, we all have lives. We're not just sitting around by the phone saying, please ring. And then, oh, John, thank you.
Well, that's my Monday morning. Please ring.
There we go.
Okay, so let's keep that in referral process. Okay, so we hang up the phone from the bride. Now, you're going to call up the DJ, your friend, the DJ. How do you just continue walking us through this process?
Okay, you call up your friend, the DJ. Let's pretend that we're calling up Mike Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay, we call up Mike. This is John. I've got a bride that she's looking for June 12th. Are you booked? Let's pretend that Mike says, no, I'm not booked. So now you say, all right, let me call her up, and I'm going to put the two of you together. Okay, number one, Mike, do you realize what the average person spends for a booked lead, John? It's between $150 to $350 in the wedding industry.
Wow.
So now, Mike, you just gave him potentially $150 to $350 gift.
Right.
Mike's your new best friend, right? Mike's your best friend anyhow.
Yep.
So now you call back to the bride and you say, hi, Beth, this is John. I got a hold of Mike. He's available. Here's his phone number. Do you mind if I give his number to him, give your number to him, and then you connect the two. Now, if they connect, great. If they don't connect, you've at least done the right thing.
Right. So when you ask, okay, so can I give your phone number to Mike? Do you do anything with like when you're talking to Mike and say, hey, Mike, I'm going to talk to her then and let her know about your open date. Do you do anything like say, Mike, would you be able to call her later today, tonight, so you could kind of set up an expectation of when he could call her?
Yeah, and that's a part that I skipped. You want to make sure that thank you for that. You want to make sure that he is going to actually follow up, and that he not only that he's going to follow up, but that he's going to follow up timely. You know, one of the biggest complaints I get all around the country is that people don't return their phone calls.
Yeah.
And I find it too. And it's amazing because of the fact that you spend all this money on your marketing, you spend all this effort, and you stress out so much, but then people don't return their phone calls. So hopefully, and I know this about Mike, that Mike would be on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, with no problem. And so if you are partnering up with somebody, that's a key ingredient that you got to make sure you got somebody that's not a schlub that's going to drop the ball on you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we've got that from Mike. We call back and we ask her, and then we can, and Mike said that, would this evening be a good time to call? Because Mike said he's available to chat this evening. Okay, great. We get back to Mike, and do you ever do anything beyond that, like following up with Mike or following up with a bride, or is it basically once you've handed it off to Mike, then you can kind of step away?
If anything, just follow up with just the other person, with the other wedding professional, with the other DJ, whoever you're handing the lead off. By the way, this is not just for DJs. I want you to, when you're booked as a form of your marketing, incorporate this into your marketing to where, all right, now that we've booked what we do, whether it's photo booth, uplighting, DJing, whatever you're doing. Now that we booked this, is there anything else that you're looking for? Because I know a lot of people in town, and I can really help you out here.
Right.
And the thing about it is that brides have complained, and I've had a lot of people say to me that brides felt that it was really creepy that they friended them on Facebook. I don't know, but it's not that big of a deal. But brides don't want to. I mean, brides are going out of their way to create separate identities for their wedding. So I would say after you hand it off to Mike, just follow up with Mike.
Yeah, I would think that would be safe. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, if you get a bride that's a real piece of work, and you know she's going to be a horrible bridezilla, send it off to your competition that you don't like so much. Then they'll think that you're wonderful until they have their day.
Of course, they may everything might go smoothly for them.
They might be compatible jerks or something.
Yeah, and there have been times where that we've had initial meetings and there have been red flags, and all of a sudden, a month into, wow, and they turn out to be just wonderful people that you caught on a bad day. So.
Right. And there's other times when other wedding professionals say, "Oh, I worked with her and she was horrible," and it's like you turn out to be like, "Well, she was great with me," and it's like I never had more fun in my life. That was awesome. So
I've had that wedding too, and it's been it's like, you really? They're sweet people. Oh, they were so mean to me. Well, you must have done something.
Yeah, really.
Good stuff, Rick. Good stuff. We've talked about some sales things and some ideas and a little bit of referral stuff. If people would like to find out more information, because our time is starting to wind down here a little bit, if people want to find out some ways to get a hold of you and such for asking questions, you've got some different training materials out there, and you do some coaching. What's the best way to get in touch?
Best way to get in touch is go to my website, getmorebrides.com. And then tell me what's going on. John, I'm starting to where I'm finding that in the industry, just giving a blanket solution, like, for example, buy this CD or buy that course or buy this whole coaching program or whatever, it doesn't work. So I like to talk to people first and find out what they need, because like Dave Lewis, I don't want to sell you anything that you're not going to use. And I don't want to sell you anything that's not going to make you a lot more money than you paid for. So my approach is that in which if I can't make you money, then I don't want to take your money.
Yeah, yep. I think that's wise idea, because some people need help in one area and not so much in other areas. And it's that conversation that you can have with them and say, you know what, it sounds like this would be something that would be beneficial to you.
Right. And some people need coaching. Some people don't need coaching. Some people can get by on their own. They're very innovative. That being said, I've got a couple of buttons on my website where you can connect with me. I just redid it. In fact, John, you gave me I'm supposed to be the marketing guy, but this is the power of going outside of your own isolation. We have this thing, this condition called owned authorship. In other words, we created it. It's our baby. And therefore, we fell in love with it. I mean, I love my kids, and they can barely do any wrong in my eyes. And that's the way our businesses are. We worry about it when they're sick. We worry about our businesses at night. They keep us up at night, and we just jump for joy when they hit a home run. So this owned authorship, if we can ask other people and get out of our own way, get out of our own isolation, we find some really good thing. I talked to Ruth about my site, and he found some glaring typos, and as well as some things that just didn't sound right. Mm-hmm. And talking to you today, one of the first things you brought up was mobile, and here I am. Didn't think about mobile yet, and so now I've got to go back and redesign it, because after going, what John mentioned his analytics, I went back and looked at my own Google Analytics, and guess what? My analytics match yours as far as how much of it is mobile users. So there's a value in getting out of your own way sometimes, not to mention that you got to get in the right way. Just putting up a thing on a chat room, an idea on a chat room to get others' feedback, I don't do that. Here's why: because you got a lot of people that you're going to get 15 different opinions from 10 different people. Yeah. And so my advice is find the right people to give you the right advice.
I think that's a huge thing, that right people for the right. Yeah, there's a team of people that you trust and you talk to. Not everybody. And that bridges off into the whole DJNTV Insider thing that we've been talking about, but that's another story for another day. Jose's got a question here before we wrap it up. His statement is, or question here is, we have a lot of people that undercut us and others. How can we give a rebuttal to that issue without sounding unprofessional when a bride is bringing that up, basically saying that, hey, Joe down the street will do it for this, and how do they handle that? What would your recommendation be?
Well, let's role play that out, John. You go ahead and be the groom, and I'll be you. I'll be the DJ.
Rick, I love everything you're talking about. I think your offering is perfect for my wedding day. But I was talking to the guys over at superbigspeakers.com, and they can do the same stuff, and they're going to only charge me like $50 less. Can you match that? Can you beat it?
Well, John, the one thing that I found in my business is that, you can find other people that are cheaper, but I can assure you that 100% of my brides knew that they could find somebody cheaper, but they went ahead and they paid more money with me for typically one of three reasons. See if you can guess any of them.
Well, experience.
That's one of them.
Maybe customer service.
Well, they really liked the fact that I was available to them. And let me go ahead and give you the third one. Is that because of the fact that they knew that I was going to focus in on what they needed, not what I wanted to provide. And so those things I found, and brides have told me that those are very important to the wedding. So that's why I charge what I charge. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. And I think as Jose's talking price range and such, I don't think that if it's a $50 difference or if it's a $1,000 difference, the things that you just said that you brought to the table, that your couples knew. I love that the brides that I've worked with, or the couples I've worked with, knew that they could find something elsewhere cheaper, but they came to me.
100% of the brides.
Yeah. And that's a fabulous line. So, gang, rewind that and play that and listen to it again, because it doesn't matter if it's a $100 difference or $1,000 difference, or in my case, there's times where I'm $2,000 more than any DJ or the other DJs are talking to in my market.
And another thing too is that when we set up our marketing to have them price shop, we get what we deserve. And there's ways that we need to go back and look. Our marketing and our sales need to go hand in hand. And that's where you look at the complete overview, the complete 30,000 foot view of things, John, that our marketing needs to be chock full of social proof.
Yeah, very much so. Very much. I think that's going to be a great topic for a future show. Marketing to avoid the price. How did you say that? The marketing materials.
We'll have to rewind and look.
Yeah. marketing. Yeah, you talked about your marketing materials that are basically they lead into that whole price conversation. So if a person could be marketing away from that, I think that's going to be a future show. Marketing away from that price conversation.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Gang, this is what happens when we're going live. We come up with ideas and we have to take notes and make sure we have these for future shows. Otherwise, this show would be a 3-hour show tonight. And Rick's he's on the East Coast, so he needs to get to bed sometime tonight. Rick, thank you very much for your time tonight. You've given us some gold tonight. I think that for those of you who are watching, take notes, rewind. There's things in here you need to incorporate into your shows. It's just some really, really good stuff. Just hang on. I want to see. Hang on. I'm going to make sure that if there's any other questions here. There's Ian's being he's just in the chat room. They're just there. He's just talking and such. Ian, you're funny, man. Good stuff. Rick, thank you very much. We'll have to shoot for, maybe we can see if something will work here, maybe early June if you had some time, and we'll dig into this. I think that whole idea, especially as people are getting their marketing tweaked through the summer for 2017. Let's plan for that.
There we go. If you're going to be in business next year, let's start now.
That's a great thing. So once again, links are in the description on the YouTube video player. You guys can go check that out. And Rick, we'll see you again. Let's hope in about a month.
Great. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys for watching tonight. You can catch this on Facebook. You can catch this on YouTube. And we will catch you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with the Tuesday Night Music Show with Brian Redd. Thanks for watching. Good night. And
The PV Dark Matter Series power enclosures deliver best-in-class performance with custom settings for specific environments. The Dark Matter enclosures produce crystal clear, professional audio. PV Electronics, perfection in music and audio. Quality Kids Entertainment is sought after by parents and daycare centers everywhere. Bubble parties can easily be added to your existing services as a wonderful and unique event. Mention you saw this ad and get 10% off our special offer if you sign up before April 30th. So contact Bubble Parties today before this offer gets away. DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool. The LD Systems Curve 500 is the world's first truly portable array system. With 2,400 watts of peak power and a 120-degree array, the Curve 500 is the ideal solution for DJs who care about their sound and presentation. Learn how to make money while you sleep with automated email marketing for your event or business. Get access to the training for free by going to profit911.biz/DJN. Profit 911. More customers, more cash, less stress.